The issues I had very early on should have been indications to me that I should not have done this, but I hated my male self so much that I needed to. And now there's no way to go back.
I couldn't. I felt like I was being shredded inside. And I had no idea what was happening. I would try and call the doctor. I would say, this feels wrong. Like, there's just no way that this is what it's supposed to be like. It looked horrific on the outside.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's not my business, but you brought it up a couple of times, so I want to talk about it if you want to talk about it.
Hey, you want to talk about my
Exactly.
Okay.
Not necessarily about like the surgery, of course, but like just about like your decision to do that and how that feels for you today.
Well, I mean, it's hard to not talk about it without not talking about the surgery.
No, you're free to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to be intrusive.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's so cute.
Okay.
I had my SRS surgery February 2014. I was the first girl to be approved by the state to cover my surgery. Wow. So I had to prove to the law that it was medically necessary for me to undergo that surgery. I had a surgeon. I feel like she was careless. She seemed great. She seemed sweet. I was naive. I was in desperation of a change. And, because I was conditioned, to believe that my body was just not good enough, or my body was not feminine, or my body was disgusting because I had a fucking to my legs, She did
So welcome back to my channel. Today's going to be kind of heavy and graphic, so I completely understand if you don't want to listen to it. But helping me to get these messages out there by liking, subscribing, and commenting, it would be awesome. So just so you know, I completely respect your choice not to watch today, but I'm gonna keep doing these videos because people keep sending me these videos and people want to talk about these situations, and my whole goal here is to reach a generation of so-called trans-identified people who are looking to get these surgeries, which in my opinion, you should not be getting, and you can live a fulfilling life without getting the surgeries. I think the whole trans space has gone off the deep end. I think it's too easy and accessible to get these types of surgeries. And so with that, I want to show you why I believe these surgeries should not be, first off, just handed out like candy. Secondly, that should be so easily accessible. And thirdly, why do we not have more hardcore mental health care to try to get somebody to just live in the body that they were given? I know some of you out there are like, then why did you do it, Buck? I did it at the age of 30 years old. I also did it after years and years and years of hardcore mental health care. Okay. But I made the choice as a 30-year-old, not as an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old or even a 10-year-old. Okay. So that's why I do believe an adult should have access to this medication after years of mental health care. Now, as you know, I do talk about why couldn't I just live in that body? Why could not I figure out my gender dysphoria without having to remove my breast? Now that being said, I'm super happy. I am happy. So doesn't matter what you think or what. I'm an adult who lives in a very secure space and I'm very happy with my life. But I think that too many people are doing these very drastic surgeries. I don't have any of those surgeries. I only have my top surgery. The bottom surgery is drastic. So it's why I'm going to keep talking about this, okay? I'm not anti-trans. I'm not transphobic. I'm anti-children doing something that is irreversible. I'm also anti-pushing people into a space when other things could be happening with them that you're not having a discussion about. So that's what you need to know about me. So with that, thanks again for all the support with the channel, and let's continue with this interview, which I find to be very fascinating. And I'm so happy when people are so honest about the surgery.
And it was done, and like she kind of like that was that. she told me that I didn't need electrolysis. And that's one thing that's like every surgeon who performs a vaginoplasty requires that to be done, because if not, you can grow hair inside of you. And that's something that I've had to like struggle with, where it's like, not like massive, like, hair, but it would be like one hair, and then it would just create like just complications for me. Dilating, having to keep my vagina open, all of that was just, it was torture. It was painful. It didn't feel good. Just these hard rods I had to keep open, and some of my vagina, the skin graft didn't take. So like, it sounds funny, but like, a part of my lip was hanging, and they had to cut it off. So then I was told that I had to go a size down in terms of like diameter, in terms of my dilation, and then I could move back up to, and I did that. I went to the smallest dilator, and, for like a couple days, and then it was so hard to just regain that back. And then I just started to close up, and it was painful, like to the point of like I thought I was going to faint sometimes when I would put it inside me. It was just so painful. It hurt so much. So eventually I gave up, and I was depressed. It had me very depressed because I lost all this depth, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm not dilating. I'm not doing this shit. Like, I guess I'm going to be a human Barbie with a fucking non-working vagina. My vagina closed. And
it's interesting that you're going through that mental health stuff, because one would think that would have solved a lot of your problems to get the sex change, and it actually was the opposite.
Yeah.
See, that's my point. He literally said my point there. You would think getting the sex change would alleviate all your problems. It doesn't. It doesn't. And why aren't people hearing the people who've been doing this way before what you see today? It doesn't. I still have gender dysphoria. It comes out in all kinds of different ways. The thing that has helped me, honestly, is to acknowledge my biology, to say I am a female. I never became a male. I live looking like a man. Those things have helped me tremendously. And those things did not start to come until later in my life, after years of living this way, sort of understanding where I'm at, that I'm just not a man. Like, really, it takes a lot of growth to understand what we used to call a sex change. And it takes a lot of understanding. How can a 10-year-olds aren't making those choices. The adult, the family, the parents are making those choices for a child. Even somebody making this choice because they feel pushed into it by society. I wanted to have the penis because I felt pushed into it by society. I am so happy I never did that, because I don't have any of those complications. Okay. I had complications due to hormone usage. Okay. So all of that's coming up for a lot of these young people, but that's insane. Now this person, transgender woman, male, now no longer even has a vagina. So she, I'm going to use the respectful, call her she, because I feel like being very respectful to her. She's being very open about her situation. That being said, she doesn't have a penis or a vagina now. She even called herself a Barbie. What? How can that even mentally, I can't even mentally grasp living in a space like that for the rest of your life.
It was totally the opposite. I was, definitely, happy at like, I felt like, yeah, I saw a little difference. And I'm like, wow, like I'm one step closer to being the woman that, I was made to be. A part of me was living in a delusion, thinking that, society was going to treat me differently. I thought that the world was going to just see me, and allow me to coexist, with the rest of them without alienating me. I've learned that trans people were always, regardless of how feminine you look, how much of a pussy you have, how deep it is, it's how we've seen it in this world. And honestly, I know this is a controversial thing to say, but I think that trans people, we're the most hated people, or the most misunderstood people in the world. It made me feel less kind of a woman in a way for a man. Like, gay men don't date me. They don't, that's not like straight men who like women, they're attracted to me, so those are the kind of men I entertain, whatever. And like my ex, you know, there was a lot of times where he was like, you know, oh, please, baby, like, you know, you need to get that open. Like, you know, you know, because we will have anal sex, you know, and it was great and all, but, you know, he was well endowed. And like, for me to do that every day, like, he was a very sexual person. He wanted to have sex a lot. It was very performative. I would do it for him, but I didn't enjoy it. Like, you know, there was times where I'll cry, like, afterwards. I was just frustrated because I'm like, damn, I'm all this woman and physically, like, I have this part, but I can't even, like, utilize it.
Now looking back, if you had the chance to rewind time, would you have still gotten the surgery?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I think I would have not. The reason why I want to get a second surgery is because I can't go back. That's, you know, the path that I chose out of ignorance, and, you know, I was a bit naive. But that's why I think it's important to be transparent about it, because I think that a lot of trans girls that do undergo that surgery, they kind of like pretend like, oh yeah, my pussy's this, it's so this, and it's so that, and whatever. And it can be, but you also have to, you know, like, be realistic. Like, if you don't have the money to get all those surgeries, you have to be prepared to possibly have to undergo multiple surgeries in order to get the result that you want.
Wow. Just wow. I mean, why are more people not... this was done like 2 years ago, and I don't really understand why more people aren't saying these kind of things, but she just said it. They're not being truthful about the surgeries and how you have to dilate every day for the rest of your life. And when you don't, you can lose it. So, like, if you don't feel like it, it's a huge situation to get a vagina, okay? And now she doesn't even have that anymore, okay? So there's just so much in this interview that she wouldn't have gotten it. She would have not have gotten it. And so many of the people that I have been researching who now feel they wish they never got it say the same thing. They don't know why they got it. They felt like if they got it, they were going to become a woman, right? They felt like they were going to be accepted in that world, but they're not. You're still a transsexual. You're still trans. You're still not a woman. Doesn't matter how many surgeries and how many hormones, okay? And if you're not being honest to the person you're being sexually intimate with, then you're also being a horrible person. You can't do that. I don't care how much you look, feel. You have to be honest that you are not an actual woman. So I think what I got out of that interview was all of the stuff this person did. Walking down the street, you would not, to me, this person actually looks like a woman and is very possible and is a real transsexual person who got all the surgeries, did all the things that they were supposed to do to pass as a woman and be a woman, yet they're not a woman. And they just, I feel, it's sad. It's very sad to me to see this. And, you know, again, I think a lot of the conversation really does revolve around men who want to be women. You don't talk a lot about the guys like me or, you know, females who want to be males. We kind of just blend into the world and do our thing. At the old school, like me, the newer ones are completely out of control. But that, and I'm going to do one on something you'll see soon that's just so out of control, I can't even believe it. But this is an actual true transsexual who tried to go through all of this stuff to make themselves fit and coexist in the world, and it didn't work out for them. And I feel a depression from this person, and it is hard to be trans. I guess that's the message that I get from this particular person here, is it's not easy to be trans. Stop acting like you have trans euphoria and that's when all of the trans social media and the trend ends, which it 100% will, you won't have that euphoria anymore, and nobody will be telling you how amazing you are because you're trans, because they're going to move on to the next thing, and you're going to be left with horrible surgeries, the damage of testosterone or estrogen, and the damage of the social media that's gone to your brain. And that's why I do these videos, because these videos are so important to me to get to a young person who is even thinking about getting this surgery. So the next one I have is this. Trans identifying people discuss the truth about bottom surgery.
It has been a decade since my sex reassignment surgery.
I had my SRS 10 years ago.
It's been almost 4 years since I had the first stage of my vaginoplasty.
I had my second SRS revision surgery. I am getting a second surgery.
After my surgery, I was just in such a dark place that I didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't really want to have to go back into it and feel all those feelings over again.
I had a few complications, bleedings, infections.
I've had complications and
I've had a hard time.
I did have some complications and I did have some, concerns that not everybody deals with.
I thought it would make me happier, and initially it did. Was that worth the constant issues I've had? The dilation I have to do for the rest of my life?
I'm having the worst time with dilation.
I was experiencing a little bit of dehiscence, which is basically when you are so swollen that the sutures that they put start to rip open. It was as bad as it sounds.
I had trouble urinating. I kind of walked around with it for a year before I seeked help. The reason I'm dilating twice a day is because if I miss once, it is so painful. I dread it so much because it's so painful.
I went to dilate again that night and I think that I moved a stitch. I don't know what happened, but something happened and I was in excruciating pain.
Pain, dilation, pain, dilation, pain, whoops, rip something, whoops, ouch, I wish I never did it, oh my God, why do I have this? See, it's just literally this. How come these things are not put out there bigger? Remember, I told you I am working on one of the side effects of transitioning, okay? Because this is one of the side effects. Are you people out there who are even thinking about doing this, hearing this? You have to dilate every day for the rest of your life. You miss one day and ow, it hurts.
Felt like literally somebody had shot me or stabbed me or burned me or something down there.
I had to dilate and I had to try to open my urethra up and it was just yeah, I'm going to start crying. I was bleeding every time. I literally was going to pass out. I threw up because I had so much pain.
I remember bawling my eyes out saying what did I do? What did I do to myself? I fucked myself up. I'm never going to heal from this.
My body is constantly trying to heal after surgery, since it considers it to be an open wound.
I mean, what can I do except go and have another revision?
I remember starting to cry in the surgeon's office because I was I'm depressed. I'm in school. It's painful. It's a lot.
The issues I had very early on should have been indications to me that I should not have done this, but I hated my male self so much that I needed to. And now there's no way to go back.
You can never go back. When you get a surgery, it's not always going to go well.
If I had known about the irreversible physical damage I caused to my body, then I would have never done any of this.
It's very much a commitment for life. You're going to have to rely on doctors for the rest of your life.
Don't be like me and deny problems until it's too late. Rather, address them so you can be happier and live a healthier life.
Oh my God, this one just blows my mind. What? There you go. They're all admitting to the fact that maybe they shouldn't have got it. It was the worst painful thing in forever. So why? All I hear is that this surgery will help you. You'll be able to move on for the rest of your life as a woman or a man. Yet they're not talking about, again, the negative effects of these surgery. This woman who did it 10 years ago, this transgender woman, said she would have never done it if she would have understood the long-term pain and the long-term effects of removing his penis to create a fake vagina. And was it her or someone else said in there that it's basically just an open wound? For the rest of your life, you have an open wound between your legs. I have been living as a male for 33 years, more now, I think, with a vagina. And I can tell you that I have everything I need. Everything I need. I don't want for anything. I don't want for a penis. I have 9 of them in my drawer. Just kidding. You know what I mean? But I honestly, I just want to reiterate to the people out there, you can actually have a functioning life. Fix the things you can and deal with the things you can't. The serenity prayer. It's a real thing. Some things you cannot change. The things you can change. The things you can't, deal with and learn how to move forward in the world. But I believe that's why me doing these videos about these bad, horrible, insane surgeries are so important, because some youngster, and I've seen it in my comments, thank you, Buck, for I was on the fence about getting the bottom surgery, and I'm just not going to do it now. I'm just not going to do it. So there's one. I'm done. Really? Like, there's one. But more and more of you are actually watching and seeing what I'm trying to say here, okay? If you choose to do it, it's totally your life as an adult. You go right ahead. I wish you luck on it. But after me showing you all of this, I can't even imagine why you would even consider doing that. Now, I don't know if you know that I've done lots of interviews. I've kind of put that over here since I've been really working on my main channel, but I'm going to start picking up the podcast again as the baby gets a little bit older. But right now my attention is this and the baby. So I just want to let you know that I interviewed male to female transsexual who transitioned as a young person, was on puberty blockers. Her name is Brianna, and she's a lovely, lovely human being, but it destroyed her life. And I'll put the link to that interview because you should watch it. It's really great. But after I sort of brought light to it, she started getting really her voice out there more, and she ended up on Candace Owens' podcast. And first I'll show you the little snippet I made of my interview with her, and then I'll show you it destroyed her life. It totally destroyed her life.
Going through that much medical transition all at once before I was an adult did not help my mental health. I felt like I watched my body be completely reconstructed within a few years. And on top of that, the bottom surgery was the worst experience of my life. I was lied to about it, and it was an experimental one that has no research and is not even for trans people. It's for cisgender women with deformities. OMG, she spills the beans. She actually is a man who became a woman, but as a boy, they started giving her puberty blockers at like 13, and then she got a vagina as a minor, and she couldn't get it because the puberty blockers made the growth of her penis too small, so they had to take other parts and make a vagina. This is why puberty blockers are completely insane. So let me bring you the one from her here from Candace Owens.
It's like, and these are your private parts.
Yeah. And immediately from there, nothing was recovering. It got worse over time. Immediately going home, this is not typical, and they told me this wouldn't happen, but during a procedure like this, they completely shorten your urethra because obviously you don't have a penis anymore. So they have to cut it and put it like right at the body. And mine was so swollen that I had a catheter in for about a month attached to a bag. And I could feel it like every second. And you also have to dilate when you have this procedure. So basically, they're essentially like plastic, like large, almost like toys.
Yeah.
Very similar to that. And you have to put them in and leave them in for 30 minutes at a time.
With that pain.
Again, dilate. Oh my God. And secondly, the urethra. Do you know how sensitive the urethra is? And that she has to be with a catheter. If you've ever had a catheter, they're insane. And then every time you move, you can feel it. Like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it?
And it felt like a knife inside of me. But I was terrified to like not miss a second, because then I would feel like all of this was going to waste. And I would lose everything that I thought I had wanted for so long. But every single day, the pain was worse and the bleeding was worse. I would bleed all over the bed every time I would do it. And I knew even just a month, 2 months in, something was really wrong. The way dilation works is they give you 4 different sizes, and you are supposed to work up to the largest. But I was going backwards. I would try so hard. The surgeon told me, oh, like you just have to make it fit. You just have to put it in. And I couldn't. I couldn't. I felt like I was being shredded inside. And I had no idea what was happening. I would try and call the doctor. I would say, this feels wrong. Like, there's just no way that this is what it's supposed to be like. It looked horrific on the outside. Like, I mean, it didn't, and it still doesn't really look like any kind of genital. It looks like something in between.
Imagine, just imagine being told as a young person that as a boy you can become a girl. And as this is what I'm trying to show you right here, and why Brianna is so important in this conversation. Okay, because this actually happened to them. And in my interview with them, they state, if I would have just been told that I'm a feminine man, I would be a gay man today and living a happy, functioning, sexual, fulfilled life. And now they're depressed. They have some kind of thing between their legs that does not work. And then, I really feel like these surgeons are whack jobs and wing nuts. And I feel like they are like experimenting on humans because it makes them feel on some level like, I don't think all surgeons are like that. Okay. But I do think there are some that are complete full on wing nuts who just want to create these things by using human beings and creating this vagina that doesn't function like a vagina. It doesn't work like a vagina. It is not a vagina. You can call it whatever you want, but it's not a vagina. It's an actual open wound that you have to dilate for the rest of your life. And you're in excruciating pain sticking the dilator in every day. How fun is that? How can you imagine every day for the rest of your life, you have to put something inside of you to make you have this vagina, but it hurts like a motherfucker. Of course you're going to stop doing it.
And I remember that even from when I had the surgery. It looked horrible on the outside. And everything felt wrong in my body. And I would try and call for help. And he said, oh, it's just normal. Try using more lube. Take deep breaths. Try a different angle, like using a pillow. And it made no difference. And I was constantly being told that. And even when we went in for checkups, he just kept saying things were fine. He was like, oh, things are fine. My mom would be there. He was like, oh, this is fine. And I would ask questions. I'm like, what about this pain? Like, I'm still bleeding. Like, I'm still having discharge coming out. Like, I'm still in so much pain. Like, even 2 months later, I would walk and it would feel like there was a brick right here. Like, it was just nonstop pain. And he said, oh,
I want to tell you something. I'm going to start talking more about my own health problems. And one of the things that happened to me was pain down there because of the testosterone. And it takes out the estrogen, which atrophies the vagina. And no one told me anything about that, but it started to get more painful and more painful down there. And it would bleed and it would not be comfortable in there. And I remember telling my gynecologist as I was having an exam that, ow, that hurts. Like, it's not, he's like, oh, it's probably just that you are getting older and you're having, but it's completely normal. I'm like, it's not normal. That pain is not normal. And just the way some of these doctors just sort of shrug it off. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's fine. You're just going to have to deal with it. So it's not normal. And so what really I'm trying to say is that me as a female and taking testosterone removed the estrogen, which in turn gave me sort of fast forward menopause. I went through menopause early because that's what happens in females is the estrogen starts to sort of diminish, and why you have to do hormone replacement and a lot of kind of things. It's why I know a lot about the vagina, and because I had to figure it out on my own. And so what happened was I was literally going through a menopausal state, and these doctors were just shrugging it off like it's totally normal, instead of telling me, well, you could use this kind of supplement, or maybe you should be doing an estrogen. Nobody ever told me any of that. I figured that all out on my own. So
The reason I'm telling you that is because it's kind of very similar to what's going on here. The doctor doesn't really know what's going on. It's not normal for you to be bleeding like that every day and be in pain. What? Tell me in what world you live in where you're supposed to be in pain every day and bloody. That's literally not normal. So, you know, I do feel so much like for these trans women who have chosen to take on doing this surgery, because I know as a transsexual, you feel like you have to sort of mimic this male or female identity in order to be able to, that's called gender dysphoria, by the way. So for myself, I really did go out of my way to become as masculine, and I like to say hyper masculine as possible, but never got that surgery. And so I had to compensate a lot for that. But I think these trans women who are choosing to get these surgeries somehow make them feel, in my opinion, that this is going to take away all of the problems from their self. But it doesn't. It creates more problems, and you can just see it right here. It proved it. It creates more problems. And the majority of these trans women who are now realizing that they wish they never did it and they maybe made a huge mistake is important. It's important into this conversation that I'm trying to bring, and that many of us like Blair and Tori, and, you know, Tori got the surgery. She seems to be perfectly fine, and Jake, and he got the bottom surgery, but it's new. And I'm wondering in 10 and 15 years, and I hope to God that they never have any of these problems. But the reality does sit there that these problems exist, and these sex changes are drastic. And we have moved children into a space of this. Have we lost our effing minds? No child should ever go through any of this insanity, okay? This is 100% an adult choice, but even adults on some level are having a hard time understanding that these choices could be the wrong choice. So with that, thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button, liking and commenting. Thank you for caring about me and caring about the message I'm trying to bring. And I spent all morning long with baby girl, and she is just like, man, I'm making a music video. You wait. I'm not even going to tell you the name of it because it's just hilarious. I mean, I'm all looking for little kid things to play for her, and like one popped up called Mommy Farted. I'm like, what? And it's like a huge hit. And then there's all like Daddy Farted, Mommy Farted, Baby Farted. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna make a hit baby song. You watch. So with that, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you a lot, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.